Mike. Tannenbaum is here, and then we got this. All right? I know.
Welcome to our living room.
I apologize, but anyway, Jeff Saturday is
Don't
here.
adjust your television.
That's
Not that
right.
any of you know how to do that anymore. This is what it looks like.
Never have we been so sorry to have HD. Today's the day. All right? But he's going to be with us the whole time. So here we are. Listen, several teams already in the holiday spirit. The Eagles win over the Cowboys last Sunday has given them control of their own destiny. They need a win against the Giants or a Cowboys loss and make the playoffs for the third straight year. The Titans can clinch the 6th seed with a win or a Steelers and Colts loss. Since Ryan Tannehill became the starter, they are 6-3. The Texans got a surprise gift. J.J. Watt back at practice after tearing the pec muscle in Week 8. The plan for Watt would be to return in the postseason. And Santa may have stopped by the Seahawks team facility, but beast mode was the real gift giver. Marshawn signed a contract for the rest of the year, and he is back in Seattle.
I was kind of surprised by it. I mean, the guy's a hell of a player. I mean, he was unreal when he was playing. So we'll see what he's got.
I saw the backs they lost, so you knew they were going to sign someone, and they signed a good one. So I know Marshawn will come in and he'll be ready, regardless of how much time he's had off. I mean, Marshawn's a competitor, he's a battler, so I think it was smart of them.
You can't describe him in one word, so it's I definitely need a dictionary. I'm excited to have him back, excited to see him run the ball. And like I said, whenever he puts his jersey and pads on, he's a guy that no one wants to tackle, no matter how long he's taking off.
In case you're wondering, I don't have my 24 jersey underneath my sweatshirt here, okay?
What brought you back this time?
Happy holidays. Merry New Year. Y'all have a great day. It's a great feeling to be back. Thank you.
You love it.
I mean,
love it.
You can't make it up. That was the entirety of the Marshawn Lynch return press conference. The whole thing. That's it. So look, you got to be who you are, right? Marshawn being Marshawn, and guess what? They don't care one bit. And I'll tell you exactly why, because there is one reason he's back, and I'll show you. Here's his top moments with the Seahawks. 2014, Russell Wilson hands it off. He does a number on that Cardinals defense.
Good
79
gracious.
yards to the house.
Good, just throwing dudes off of him as he hits the sideline. Goes a little scores and shows you what's up, baby.
And then there's this.
I'm just here so I won't get fined. I'm here so I won't get fined. I'm here so I won't get fined. You know why I'm here. I'm here so I won't get fined.
2015 Super Bowl Media Day. In case there was any ambiguity, he was there, so he wasn't fined. Seahawks hosting the Saints here, and beast mode is born. He takes the handoff, and when I say he doesn't look back, he really, truly doesn't. Really, the legend of beast mode is made right there with that 67-yard score.
I think there's at least 15 missed tackles on one run. One of the best runs in the history of postseason play.
Wow. Another look Jeff needed for this one.
Yeah, I mean, Mike just said it, right? I mean, here's a guy who's running away from people, running over people, running around people, you name it, he did them all. Thing of beauty.
I think I saw a Matt Hasselbeck sighting in that little situation.
He was chasing it from the back.
He was doing something. I don't know what it was. The Seahawks lost both Chris Carson and C.J. Prosise in their game against the Cardinals. That's really how we got here. Carson suffered a hip injury while Prosise broke his arm. And back on December 8th, this was prior to that, Rashard Penny suffered a torn ACL. He against the Rams, so they lost Penny. Prior to signing Marshawn and Robert Turbin, rookie Travis Homer was the only healthy back on the roster. And for a team who has aspirations of going deep into the postseason, it wasn't going to be enough. But I have to think, Mike, as someone who's made these decisions, that you like the message they're sending if you're inside that locker room.
Yeah, no question about it. Just from an intangible standpoint, what a great job by John Schneider, the GM of the Seahawks, and Pete Carroll. You're sending a message to your locker room that we're going to do everything we can within reason to win this year, and Marshawn Lynch gives us the best chance. Now, he has to get in shape. Soft tissue injuries are going to be a huge concern, so they may treat this game a little bit like a preseason game, get him some reps, and obviously there's going to be a big learning curve, Jeff. he has a new offensive coordinator in Brian Schottenheimer.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And to your point about just the physicality of his style of running, this is what he's about. This is what the Seahawks want to be about, right? They want to come downhill, hit people in the mouth. This guy fits the mold, what he brings to the locker room. It's just spectacular. And to your point, it may not even be his runs that get you going, but can you imagine the first 3rd and 1 during the game and he gets it? The crowd, people are going to go deaf in the stadium. That's how loud it's going to be, and that's all energy. You know,
it'll be a rock star.
Is all rock
star
concert, no doubt.
Yeah.
And the other thing about it, too, Russell Wilson, 72% completion, 8 touchdowns, no interceptions when he's in play action. No one sets up play action better than Marshawn Lynch.
Absolutely.
Listen, at the risk of having you move in that thing, because I feel like that needs a public service announcement, I am going to ask you what in particular we might see.
Yeah, so Mike just brought up a great point about.
It is tapered at the bottom.
It is tapered. It is tapered. Yes, tapered. It is play action pass protection, you name it. They have to be on the same page. And Schottenheimer likes to run you tell me what he does in the time that you've worked with him.
Yeah, he's going to run the digit system, and obviously that's going to affect the protections, Jeff, because it's a system that he hasn't been in before.
Exactly. And so how we would talk about it, if you're in 2 or 3 jet, which is like West Coast, you would know you're sliding one way or the other. When you're going 3 digits, everybody's got to be on the same page. So right now, the guard and center are going for the mic, right? You have your tackle who's going to be right here. He's going to block in this extra quote tackle tight end. He's blocking there. So what does that mean? That means our running back knows who he's assigned to, and they're going to be on the same page. So as this play develops, you're going to watch everybody block, and everybody's got a man, right? Now, you can't get when guys are getting beat up here. That's not what we're looking at, but pretty much everybody's accounted for, right? So you have everybody picked up. That's what you're looking to do, and that's because people can communicate it. Chandler Jones makes a good move and beats a guy outside, but everybody's picked up. Now, this is where you're concerned. So you're asking your running back to go block this linebacker. Well, the problem is that your tackle looked inside and he thinks he's going to gap down. So now the tackle thinks his responsibility is to come in for the mic. So where the back should change and exchange positions to go to the MLOS or the end man on the line of scrimmage, he's going to go here. Everybody's confused. So what does that look like? This is a really bad feeling. Russell Wilson, who's right here, thinks he's protected. Meanwhile, Chandler Jones knows no one's going to block him, and you're about to get smoked right here, right? Hits a guy in the back. This is the concern anytime you're going from to a digit system with a guy who's not used to it.
Yeah, and Jeff, that's really right here. This is worst case scenario because on Sunday, we're playing the 49ers. George Fant is presumably going to be the left tackle replacing Dwayne Brown. And again, Marshawn Lynch is there. He has 3 days of practice, so another miscommunication like that could be catastrophic as it relates to playing the 49ers and that great pass rush.
Absolutely. I would tell you, from my perspective, you limit how much is communicated. And Russell Wilson, and I can move in this thing. Russell Wilson will be critical and communicating with Marshawn. Hey, even if you got to go, you got him. At least if we're all on the same page, we're better than if none of us understand where we got to go.
You talked, I'm sorry, Mike, you talked a little bit about this yesterday, too, sort of, and obviously that's the most important thing, but the intangibles, that his energy and the lifeline he can bring, the way, I don't want to call it angry necessarily, but that sort of violent manner in which he runs.
You know, Wendy, when I was a general manager, I felt there was a lot of constituents that I reported to, you know, that you had to deal with, but it was always the locker room to me that was the most persuasive. And when I would walk into the locker room after a signing like this, you could look those guys in the eye and say, hey, I'm holding up my end of the bargain. We're going to do everything we can within reason to win this year. Now we need everything you have, and collectively as an organization, we're going to win or die trying. And I know the feedback that John Schneider is going to get from his veterans is they're very appreciative, and they're going to give him everything they have. And again, he may not touch the ball a lot this week, but again, it's all about what can he do in the postseason. Running the ball, pass protection, again, setting up play action. This checks a lot of boxes.
And for those players, those veteran players where the window is what it is, you know, where you can sort of see your football mentality, wow, does that say, okay, you know what, let's do this. You're doing everything you can from a front office perspective. Right. Now we have to execute. By the way, as if there was any clue who was the boss up here, that one of us had been the boss, it would be Mike. I think that's, I think that's pretty evident.
One guy's been writing checks for people, and some are cashing checks.
I didn't get the holiday attire memo. You know?
Yeah, okay, next year, Mike. Another welcome addition, this one in Houston, and it comes in the form of return of J.J. Watt. Here he is Tuesday on his return to practice.
Every day I've had a tough day in my rehab. That's what I've thought about, is running back out of that tunnel, playing in front of those fans with my teammates, and being able to do for them what I've wanted to do since the day I got here, and that's win. And so that's what I'm trying to do. And so that's why after 2 months, I'm coming back, because that's what I want to accomplish, is I want to win for these people. And so is there an element of risk? Yes. But is the upside 100 times better? Yes. Because there's nothing I want to do more than to win with these guys in the locker room for these fans here in Houston, because I love them and I love the game.
I think it's fair to say that none of us would doubt a single word that J.J. Watt said, and none of us would doubt any of his intention. Now, the wisdom might be what's debatable. Is this a smart decision by the team, Mike, to bring him back, given the fact that we've seen a number of injuries here with the pec muscle?
You know, Wendy, that's a great point. And my concern is, are the Houston Texans as an organization lacking checks and balances? First of all, what J.J. Watt said, that's exactly what you want.
Yes, sir.
When you tear him apart, what's going to ooze out of J.J. Watt is a world-class competitor, and that's exactly what you want. Your head coach, Bill O'Brien, and I'm not saying he's doing anything reckless, but coaches are much more short-term, week to week. How can we win this week? But that's why you have a general manager, and they fired theirs and Brian Gaine, and they haven't replaced him. You want another voice in that room, in that discussion, to say, hey, we're the Houston Texans. J.J. Watt is only 30 years old. We want him for the next 5 years. Are we sure we're not doing anything that's going to jeopardize that? Because the worst thing you could have is to have a setback and have this re-tear, because now you're really behind the 8 ball long term. So my concern is, are there fundamental checks and balances in that discussion?
It's so interesting to hear you say that. He's accomplished so much, and I feel like we've called his name for so long. To think that he's only 30, Jeff, gets my attention. You know, to me, you forget that.
No, there's no doubt. Listen, his impact, I remember him as a rookie, and his first game playing against us in Indianapolis, and I remember Ryan Deem, who was playing offensive guard for us at the time, J.J. Watt throws like a chop hump and puts him on the ground. He's like, that's not a normal rookie. And you're looking, you know, this many years later, and he's been as dominant from day one, and he still is when he's healthy. And to your point about health, my only question when you're dealing with a pec, especially a defensive lineman, is can you sustain that battle during a game? Because listen, as an offensive lineman, I know you're hurt, and I know where you're hurt, and we've double-teamed you the most of anybody in the league. He's the most double-teamed player outside of a 3 technique when you play outside position at end in the league. Can he sustain playing against the run? Because if not, you can put 2 bodies on that guy. If he can't one-arm, which he's a button press guy, which means he likes to hit you, you know, kind of get physical with you and then press apart to separate himself from you to see a play and kind of disengage with you. Well, if your pec isn't working, that's hard to do, right? If you can't one-arm extend. So now you're limiting your game, and offensive linemen, offensive coaches will see that. So it's interesting to me. And to your point, if he's not 90 to 95, that would be a concern for me, because it's not only longevity, it's how much can he help you today? Because you heard him. I mean, the guy's literally choking up on the stand. I mean, he was almost in tears. Like, there is no doubt in my mind that kid, you would almost have to kill him for him not to get on the field.
That's why you almost have to protect him from himself.
He is
no doubt he's going to
That's exactly
I get
right.
that.
Because, look, he should be a great player for the next 3 to 5 years.
Yes. And
you don't want to do anything to jeopardize it, even though you have a chance to win this year. And that's why you have to say, hey, let's take a half a step back here.
Somebody made the point yesterday that 80% of J.J. Watt was better than 100% of a lot of guys. That's true, but no percent of J.J. Watt is not what you want. And if he plays at 80%, I think you run the risk of that. So that's what you have to
100%.
measure.
Let me say this, too. I think because of how many injuries he's had and how much time he has missed, you have this urgency, this feeling of urgency inside you when you feel like your team can make a run. That's probably the seat he's sitting in, right? Is if I can get and help this team, we really have a shot this year. And the older you get in the league, the more you realize these things don't just come around. Like, we just assume because of how good New England's been that everybody just has a shot to play in the Super Bowl every year. But we know that's not the case. And they've won it, I think, 3 or 4 times the last 3 or 4 years, the AFC South. But that thing starts ticking in you going, man, how much longer can I do it without having to miss games? If I can do it now, I want to do it now. And so that just falls back to your point and just kind of solidifies it even more. As a player, you want to go help right now. We have an opportunity. I may not get it again, but is it a wise decision?
Well, and just for clarity, and Mike, you pointed this out on Monday, he is not eligible because of IR. He cannot play in week 17, but the idea would be for him to return in 2 weeks for the postseason.
That's exactly right. Yeah, and again, these practices are going to be meaningful because they could really assess it. But again, they want to. Jeff, you made such a great point. Like, even his technique needs to be evaluated to make sure we're getting the right J.J. Watt, and he's not putting himself in harm's way.
The Texans still have a chance at the 3 seed with a win and a Chiefs loss. They currently sit in the 4th seed.